Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Nature Mission. I hope you're coping with being at home more, as we all are at the moment, but remember that we can still enjoy our environment and the great outdoors from our own backyard. And that's what the Nature Missions are all about. I'm very lucky here because I live in a place where we have a lot of space, and I don't know if you can hear at the moment, but I have a lot of bird life around me at my house. And it's something that I really enjoy about living here. But it doesn't take much to find bird life wherever you live. So this week's Nature Mission is all about feathers. And I've done a little bit of collecting, and I've found a few pretty easily actually, just around the place. I live in an area where there's lots of woodland birds. I live along a river system. And so I have access to a lot of birds, but there's some pretty common species that we have around here. Magpie, I think. Maybe a cockatoo. We've got lots of white ones. Lots of cockatoos around here. These ones are really interesting. I think this is from a kookaburra. More magpies. Oh, definitely magpie. What do you reckon? And I did have, I have a blue and black one, which is a little bit more interesting as well. We also get a lot of Adelaide rosellas around here, which I like collecting their feathers as well because they're a little bit more colourful. But I keep my little collection here, and that might be something that you want to do, is to collect some feathers. So I live just on the edge of the Mount Lofty Ranges in South Australia. And there's a little bit of a magic number when it comes to looking at how much habitat there is around and what the diversity and also the abundance of your bird species might be where you live. And that magic figure is around about 30%. So when there's less than 30% of the habitat intact, that's when we start seeing more decline in bird numbers. And so that's a little bit concerning. Where I live, at the edge of the Mount Lofty Ranges, in the Mount Lofty Ranges we have about 90% of habitat, either fragmentation or habitat alteration as well. So what we see is we might have lots of bird species around, like these guys, like our cockatoos, like our magpies, like our kookaburras, but they're actually really common species. So what we're not seeing a lot of are sometimes our more fragile species, our shyer species that really rely on that grass and shrub layer. And so in altered habitats, sometimes we have lots of canopy cover, we've got big trees, but we don't have a lot of the shrub layer. And I don't know if you can see behind me, but that's kind of what's happening out there. We've got really big gum trees, then I've just got grass, and there's not much in between. So those fairy wrens, those little birds that really like to get into small bushes and have their nests in there and be protected from predators, they're not able to do that in an area like this. So it's really disappointing here at my house. I haven't actually seen a fairy wren for a few years now. They are around, and it's really exciting when we do see them, but they're one of those birds that is a little bit hard to find. Also, with these more common species, sometimes they're referred to as junk birds, and it's kind of a fun way to remember this concept because you think about junk birds, or what does that mean? Well, it means that we've got lots of bird life around with these species, but we see them all the time. They're kind of like the junk that just hangs around. So what we really is exciting to see is those species that we don't see very often, because that means that our habitat is healthy and is functioning in the way that it should be. So some of the common species that I see around here are like the magpies, do see rainbow lorikeets, currawongs, ravens, galahs, and the kookaburras. And some of these birds are quite aggressive, and they even raid the nests of other birds. So when you have shyer species like the superb fairy wrens, maybe some silver eyes, they are competing with these more aggressive birds for nesting sites, because nesting sites are becoming a bit of a premium when we don't have as much habitat. So that's when we see these more aggressive junk birds move in, and those smaller, more timid, more elusive birds maybe start to move out. So something that's really cool that's happening at the moment, but it also happens throughout the year, is the Birds in Backyards survey. And if you haven't heard about it, it's something that BirdLife Australia do. There's a little app that you can download onto your phone, and you don't have to be a twitcher. You don't have to be somebody who knows what birds watch, because the app can help you work out what birds you're seeing. But you get on there, you locate where you are, and you basically take 20 minutes out of your day, or I think you can actually also do it over the course of a week. Just take little chunks of time and record what birds you see. And then you download it to the app, and that becomes a great resource for lots of researchers understanding what birds are where. And it's called Birds in Backyards because that's what it's about. It's about finding out what birds are just around in our own backyard.